Okay, welcome everyone to the October NSO monthly membership meeting. Tonight we're going to talk about teams or teamwork and cover some of the fourth official duties that we seem to be encountering more and more in our games. So let me start with sharing my screen. So this is off of a presentation I actually did during COVID. And so I just modified it a little bit tonight for our presentation. So the size of our team changes. Sometimes we're out there by ourselves. Sometimes there may be only two of us with a center ref and an AR. We hope to always have a three-person crew. And then sometimes we're lucky enough to have a fourth official join our crew to be able to be part of our team. So we're going to warm up the polling questions to make sure that I can operate them at the same time that I'm trying to operate everything else. So let me see if I can launch the first poll. Did the poll come up for you? Yes, no, maybe?
If it's your jersey color, it did.
Okay. Then everybody gets to guess what is my favorite jersey color. I'm not seeing any responses yet. Did you guys respond?
I didn't get the poll.
I didn't get a poll either.
You didn't? Okay. Here we go. We're going to relaunch it. Did it show up this time?
Yep. Now I see it.
Okay, I know that
Thank
there's
you.
8 of us.
It's showing me 7 questions.
Yeah, just answer question number 1. Okay. We're gonna. Oh, I thought we had 3, 5, 6. We got 6. Thought I had 8, but we'll go. I'm gonna share results. Did that come up for you?
Yes,
Green is
50%.
green. Perfect. Yeah, I think I wear green the most often. Red's definitely the second close one there. Okay, so now that we know that the polling works, I'm hoping once we get going here, we'll move to the next. So what I want to start off with is I actually want to watch a video here. I think we're kind of in that part of our season where we've been doing lots of games. It's been a 2 months of pretty solid weekends probably for everybody, as well as several games during the weeknights. So I'm going to show this video and try to kind of provide a different perspective here.
I'm Christian, and this is my twin brother Rasmus. And we discovered this new and little.
Everybody hearing that okay?
Model that is. I will never forget that cup of coffee. Well, a couple of years ago, I was traveling when my schedule worked out on Christmas Eve. I thought the airport was going to be a zoo, so I got there a couple hours early. It wasn't crowded at all. So for me, that means coffee. So I get down into my terminal D, and I see the sign, I get in line. So it's my turn to order. And I was greeted with this very warm and sincere welcome. This woman said to me, "Hi, my name's Lily. What's your name?" I said, "I'm Ryan." She said, "Ryan, what can I make for you today?" I said, "Well, I want a grande pumpkin spice latte." She said, "You want whipped cream on that, don't you?" I said, yeah, I want the whipped cream. She said, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do." She said, "I'm going to make it extra hot, load it up with whipped cream, sprinkle a little nutmeg on top. You're going to love it." I said, "Sounds great." She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Cleveland." She said, "Are you going back to Cleveland to spend the holiday with your family?" I said, "Yes." Now, at this point, I start looking around for the camera, right? I mean, I'm trying to get a face. I move down the line, and the conversation continues, and she's funny. She's asking me questions about my family and our holiday traditions. She's laughing, and I'm laughing, and she hands me my drink and says to me, Ryan, have a safe trip back to Cleveland. Go create some extraordinary memories with your family. When you come back to the Minneapolis airport, I want you to stop here and tell me all about it. As I get my drink, I start walking away, and I stop and I look back at this woman, and I think to myself, it's Christmas Eve. Most people would rather be anywhere else in the world than serving coffee in an airport. Not her. It was like she was meant to be there. And I couldn't help myself. I had to go back. So I did. I walked back and I said, excuse me, Lily. She jumps around. Right, is everything okay with the latte? I said, no. I said, the latte is perfect. I just had to come back and ask you, what is your secret to making such meaningful connections over serving coffee? Well, she corrected me. She said, Ryan, I'm not serving coffee. I'm pouring happiness into people's lives. I said, you're pouring what? She wants to be happy in her life. She wants to be around happy people. So she chooses, even on Christmas Eve, to smile, to have fun, to help people, to just be happy. It's interesting. When I met Lily, and she would have had no way of knowing this, but I was pretty heavy in the heart and had a lot on my mind. About 3 months before that holiday, I got a call from Mom. We got some really tough medical news about Dad. And it was a terminal diagnosis, and we knew we probably weren't going to have a lot of time. So I was sitting in that airport on Christmas Eve, not in the best place in the world. I will never forget that cup of coffee.
Okay. So what does coffee have to do with officiating? I think the piece here that I got out of this video is really the concept that the moderator was talking in regards to the paradigm between not serving coffee and pouring happiness into people's lives. And I think sometimes we go and we run from game to game on a Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes maybe in the game that we're in, we're already thinking about the next game. Maybe we're already wet, not sure when we're going to get dry again before the end of the day of our games. But just always maybe in thinking of this perspective, what is it that we want the coaches, the players, and the spectators to remember about us and our officiating? Did we just go through the motions? Were we providing answers back that maybe they didn't want to hear? And because all we did is give them the technical jargon of the answer to their question. Or are we going to be a referee that are we going to set a tone in which we're able to be that referee that when we walk on their game the next time, they're glad to see that it's us that's out there on the pitch because of how we served their game in our previous matches with them. So I don't know if anybody has any thoughts or comments in regards to thinking about our officiating in the aspect of a service that we're providing and how we can shape the experience for the coaches, spectators, and players in regards to how we approach our job, because it is a job that we're out there providing. So any thoughts from anyone? Okay, so this in I want you to keep this in the back of your mind as we move through the rest of the presentation and start to talk about teamwork. Because as a team of 1, maybe 3 or 4, it's really about us in a collaborative effort to be able to achieve a common goal or complete a task that is the most effective and efficient way. So a team is a group of individuals that are trying to perform as one to accomplish that task. So now we'll move on to poll number 2. So the question here is that when do you make your first impression? And you've got 4 options here to choose from. So let me try to do the polls again. And hopefully are you getting the polls to answer? Yep, it looks like we're getting some answers already. I got 3 of us that have answered. Okay, 8 out of the 10 of us have answered. Okay, I'm gonna end the poll and share our results. So I think the answer here really is when we get out of our car and as we approach the pitch. However we are dressed really does start the parents, the coaches, the players to formulate their opinion on how well we may or may not perform in our match today. So this is the part that we have some of the most control over in regards to our appearance. Do we look like a referee in our interactions as we start to then go and introduce ourselves to the coaches and the players? How are we interacting with them from a professional manner? And do we look the part? Do we look like we're going to be able to get ourselves around that field today to be able to make the calls and those big decisions? So what's your thoughts in regards to this picture and professionalism? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can. At least I can.
So from this picture, what's some of the things that is this referee? Let's start off with doing right.
I'll say he's keeping his hands behind his body, his back.
So he's creating that perception of openness by not putting his hands out to create an artificial barrier with the players.
Correct. Or like scalding someone. Like sometimes some referees they can choose the hands, and the movement of the hands can be misinterpreted. So by putting his hand in the back, he's not allowing that body language to be misinterpreted.
Yep. What else is this ref doing in this picture?
He's attentive. He's looking them in the eyes.
Yeah, he's got that eye contact right with them, and you can see even the players got their eye contact back to him. So I think that that is showing that attentiveness. Any other thoughts on this picture?
The referee is listening to them, giving the players a chance to say something about the call he made or what they expected of him.
Yep. Yep, I even think he's got a little bit of distance between him and the players. He's not like right up into their face, and there's a safe distance between physically between him and the players. So these are some really important things to think about in our interactions with referees on how are they maybe perceiving our nonverbal postures in regards to the situation that we may be trying to diffuse. Okay, we'll move on to preparation. So to help us in regards to our success, it's important that we know the laws of the game. That's what our job is on the field. Understand the playing environment and expectations. So on the weekends, a lot of us are probably doing youth games, maybe some even the micro mod games, doing high school games or college games during the week. And so, you know, each of those environments have different expectations of us as officials, and making sure that we're not taking in our expectations of a high school game onto that mod field environment, where on the mod field we may be serving more as a coach as opposed to a referee. We've talked about the setting a good impression by looking the part of a referee, and then just professional demeanor. Okay, we'll go to poll question number 3 here. And are you getting, what are some typical pre-game instructions from the referee as options? No one's, oh, there we go. Now we got a response. Okay. So I'm hoping, or I was wishing, that more people would be answering the 4th option as the instructions that they usually get from their referee. And that is because of the constructiveness of option 4 in regards to the mechanics that are wanted. I think it's so important that as when we have 3 referees, that we are a team, and that's why they're called assistant referees, because the ARs are also referees and should be utilized to their fullest potential, and that is to assist in the officiating. Okay. So let's start off with a pregame team conference. What are some of the things that we want as officials, or maybe some of the things that you as a referee cover in your pregame? So I gave an easy one on getting to the corner flag and raising your flag sharply. What are some of the other items that get brought up during your pregame?
Calling fouls in our quadrant.
Yep, talking through the fouls in the AR's quadrant.
Right. Offsides. You know, when do you want the flag to go up? You know, you're gonna wave off the AR if it's gonna obviously get to the keeper. Watching my back.
Yeah, that's the one I heard lately, and that is the first time I heard it a couple of weeks ago, where the center referee said, most important, watch my back, something that I don't see. You are my eyes. And yeah, that was something that I learned.
Stop, Elijah. Oops, sorry about that, Richard.
That's okay, Ray. Okay, so we want to make sure that we cover the local rules of competition that may be happening in our match, especially the substitution rules. I know that like ECNL and EA only allow a certain number of subs to occur during the game, where some of the others allow unlimited. If any of the refs have seen the teams already, what tactics do maybe some of the teams deploy in their games that may be helpful for the rest of the crew? Kind of what's the style of their play? Are they going to play out of the back like you see Pac Northwest do? Or are you going to watch them just boot it like they've been doing in our high school games? So just kind of what's the style of play that may be helpful. And then if people are familiar with the teams, you know, who's the playmaker on the team, who's the enforcer that the ref needs to look out for maybe after off the ball stuff or after the play, and who are those that may be able to assist the referee if there are problems on the pitch. And then any other, you know, type additional issues that may be encountered. Does that list of things bring up any other ideas? I know I like to always talk about the penalty area in regards to how the ARs can help provide me information on regards to how they, if they believe it was in the penalty area or out of the penalty area, or if they're not sure. Okay. So pre-game conference for the ARs, like we said earlier, offside, talked about getting to the goal line so that way whatever decisions made is can be sold. Talk about the in and out of play, as Elmer said, the calling of fouls in the quadrants. Ivan, you brought up about things behind the back of the referee that they can't see. Be able to, how are we going to communicate against amongst all of us when we usually don't have comms? Maybe some of us might be getting more games that somebody has beepers. And then how to deal with mass confrontation and how to deal with the technical area. Dissent's another big one that unfortunately we're having to deal a lot with. So that there is a good list of items that should be covered when you've got an AR. And then here's some visuals that I think does a nice job of talking about what Elmer kind of brought up earlier in regards to the AR's involvement. And in this picture on the right, you kind of see they're broken up into 3 different zones. The green zone is where we as referees should be empowering our ARs, and as ARs, we should be feeling empowered to be able to act almost at the same level as the referee, to be able to recognize whether or not there's an advantage and I don't need to call that foul. And then knowing that we don't have to always put our flag up if the referee's already beaten us to calling that foul. So the yellow, we still have some credibility as an AR, but probably our decisions are usually going to be, or when we're providing information to our center, is because we have a better position or view based on where the referee's position is. The referee may need help, and you can tell that by their body language. And if we are making decisions in that yellow area as an AR, we got to be 100% certain that we are correct. And as we get into that red zone, that's where it's really difficult as ARs for us to be as involved or be to assist our referees. But if we do see something that is happening and it is a game critical decision, that it's something that has to be called. It's going to maintain the credibility of our team being the officials. And again, just like in the yellow zone, we need to be 100% certain in regards to the information that we're going to provide the center referee. Any questions, comments about the three zones here, and kind of as an AR what our realm of duties and responsibilities are?
I would say, Richard, I love the graphic, especially the red zone. But just even on Saturday, I was in a situation where if you're looking from the bottom of the screen going up top to where the red zone is and where AR2 was, I got caught way behind the play because it was a quick clearance. And that's when, for example, when your AR that's opposite, when you have to extend your view. Because I was behind play, and luckily it was someone who I trusted and shouted out their name. They understood that because I was behind play, they could extend their view further across the field as the play was moving, which would be your graphic here, to the top of the screen and to the left to the far post, because I was probably halfway between the D and the center circle when the ball was almost approaching the penalty area. They had the ability to use their judgment if they could clearly see what was going on over there. So there are those precious moments to where you can have an extended view even when you're in the orange.
Yeah, you know, another good example of that is as an AR, I had a situation where I had a handling by an attacker who was definitely going to have a scoring opportunity, and the ref, based on their position, had no way to be able to see the handling. And so as an AR, I did make that call, which the defending team was appreciative of. Of course, the attacking team wasn't. But again, that I think saved the credibility of our team and showed the teamwork that we had in order to make sure the game that we got it right.
Exactly. Sometimes getting it right doesn't look pretty, but you're still getting it right.
Yep. And I think when we've built all the credibility up to the point of the game and showing that you know, we're professional, we're knowledgeable in our in the game, we then have that credibility to lean on each of our team members to make those big decisions, and the participants will buy what we're selling. So part of what we wanted to definitely talk tonight about was the fourth official. So we'll do another poll question here in regards to what is the primary responsibility of the fourth official. It's ironic that this happened to be question number 4. Okay, we've got about what we've been getting for, participation's moving up here. Okay, we'll share the results. So I think some of us have been on some games where maybe we felt our center referee thought our job as a fourth was to get the referee water. But I think really here, it is about the technical area is the fourth official's responsibility, which I think incorporates the substitutions and player cards part. So that's what really, when we have that fourth official, they get to be the person who manages that technical area, which takes off a little bit of the pressure for AR1. Because now they can, just like AR2, really hone in on their responsibilities of what's happening on the pitch and not what's happening behind them. So here's some things that we should cover during the pregame for the fourth official. What our procedures are going to be for substitutions. I think we all should be striving in our games, whether we have fourth officials or not, that our subs are getting checked in prior to the dead ball situation, and we don't have subs running off the benches as the ball goes out. Talk about what the expectations around the technical areas, what the center ref, how he wants them to manage the benches. I think it's always important that I've seen a lot where a fourth official, just by their mere presence of moving up and down the touch line when we have emotional outbursts, of how it helps to correct just with that presence the issue at hand, and most of the time doesn't even have to really say much of anything. In game critical decisions, what does the center ref want, and how do they want to get the information from the fourth official, especially for incidents off the ball or fouls that happen out of the view of the referee. What's the communication that keeps it all together? Now, as the center referee, you got to make sure that you're not only checking in with your ARs on dead balls, but you have a fourth official to look over to see if they have any information that they want communicated as well. And then how should they be involved in mass confrontation if you do have mass confrontation during the match? As a fourth official, I always try to make sure that I've brought a copy of that particular league's rules, so that way if we need to reference them for the game, that we have them available. Some of the adult leagues, we have to have sub passes, so I sometimes bring extra sub passes because that's a great way to make new friends with the benches, and I already have them kind of in my pocket because they didn't have what they were supposed to have for our game today. Anything else that anybody can think of that as a fourth official maybe you wanted covered during the pregame, or as a referee that you also provide your fourth official? I think this is also a great person that is able to make sure the technical area stays organized. We don't have balls rolling around, pennies laying all over the place, and also helps with the substitutions and making sure that they have pennies on when they are on the benches, and or if they do get up and start to warm up, if they don't have them on, getting them properly equipped as they warm up.
How about just making sure that we maintain proper behavior in the technical area? When you're the fourth official, we don't want to allow coaches to coach their teams, but not kind of berate your fellow official in the middle of the field. And then there becomes a point in time when, at some point in time, you're going to ask the referee to come and help you deal with the technical area that's becoming disruptive if necessary, but do a good job of trying to, have, kind of deflect the information towards the fourth official as opposed to on the field. And then when it gets to a certain point, it has to be dealt with. We can't sit there and take all the negativity for too long a period of time.
Right. And I think this is a good part, Ray, where, I've heard some center referees say to me, if I have to come over because you've already tried to diffuse the situations, I'm just going straight to a yellow card with whoever you're having the problem with, which is a neat tool that the fourth official has, because then as the fourth official, I can say, look, I'm just trying to save you from what the next step of this is because if the ref has to come over to handle this because I haven't been able to, you're getting a yellow card. And so you've got some tools that you're able to work with your center referee.
Yep, exactly.
And the last one that I didn't bring up there, Ray brought up for us perfectly, is the dealing with the dissent. We kind of get to play the fourth gets to be the good cop, and the referee gets to be the bad cop here. And so what can we do as the good cop to try to mold the behavior that we're wanting from the technical area? And then for the referee, really, when you're a team of one, hopefully you're running through all these items yourself, so that way you're recognizing, okay, I'm playing these 3 roles tonight, and these are things I need to think about. And so that's important to be thinking through, as many of us do have games that have 3 person crews. Usually, as that single crew, we got to remember we got to fulfill some of these other responsibilities. So in regards to positioning, when you've got that 3-person and 4-person crew, again, always looking at, encourage referees to be looking at those 2 corners of the penalty areas as your target of where you want to end up as you move down the field. And this picture shows you running across the center circle there, but I always encourage referees that may not be always the best path, and going around the center circle one way or another will probably help keep you out of the middle of play more often than not. So now we'll go to poll question number 5 and talk a little bit about mass confrontation. I know I don't think we've had, I think I've only heard of 1 incident in our girls' high school games this year where we had mass confrontation. But as we progress in our season, this is definitely going to, unfortunately, maybe become more part of this. So when you do have a mass confrontation situation, how should the referee crew handle this? Okay, we have a majority of people that responded with our triangle of control. So let's talk a little bit about mass confrontation. We got another video here. Now this may be a little choppy, but as we watch this, I want you, we do get some a little bit of replays in this, but what are some of the things that you see here that you would want to do differently if this situation happened in your game? Okay. Oops. I don't want to. Let's see if I can get to the next. Okay, so what are some of the things that you saw in this video that if this was in your game, the next time it was to happen, would you do differently?
I think the central referee, he went too quickly or too quick to consult with the AR, and that's where the situation started to escalate. It's kind of, they knew the referee had his back against the player. So I would have probably waited a little bit more and to try to diffuse the situation by just being there around player who failed.
Yeah, so maybe, you know, I think maybe the ref missed that first trip that happened from White as they kind of poked their foot out, which then embellished a tripping by the black player. The ref kind of ran more over to the touch line to get information. And as he was running over there, we then had that second incident of the black person, the black player, touching the white player in the back with some type of contact. But then we ended up with the white player on the ground as well. And then things seemed to kind of just escalate with both of our referee and our AR standing on the touchline, which they've done a good job of keeping themselves out of the confrontation. But maybe Ivan, I think I heard you say is maybe if the center referee's presence near where the fouls occurred may have diffused the situation and maybe prevented it from escalating.
Yeah. Once I would have stay a little bit longer there and then go once kind of the situation is de-escalated, because probably the tension was already higher. So if you stay there with the players and then you go check with the AR, that could have helped. If the situation escalates, I will immediately go to the triangle. You see, and that's the other thing, is that they just kept talking there and probably start diffusing the situation the moment they start pushing around.
Anything that maybe the AR could have done so the ref didn't have to go to the touchline? Maybe they could have just waved for the foul and called the direction, giving Black that free kick. I mean, where's the foul occurred? Well, okay, where did the player go down? You know, because I think we can all argue whether or not it's a foul per se. White did stick their foot out in front of the player, so I'm going to call it a foul because the white player did something in order which caused the black player to go down. And this a foul is in what part of the field?
I think, Richard, in situations like this, I wish that people just were to call more fouls in general. And I think I hope that's where you're going with this, in terms of so many of us want to say this looks like an adult game. We'll call it an adult amateur game. And then we always come across with, let them play. You're being too soft. I would rather you be too soft than be too hard when it comes to calling fouls, because the fouls that you don't call lead to this kind of behavior. So all we're doing here is looking at a clip. But if a dude's making a little cynical trip on a guy in the midfield, the real question is what happened prior to this? And yes, when you said what could the AR would have done, as the guy's coming to him, the referee's going to the AR could say, look, there's another guy down in the middle of the field, which would have forced the referee to come back to the field and again, maybe get on his whistle, blow it loud so they cannot kind of engage with one another. And so we can't stand and watch. But the real thing is we cannot stand and let all these a bunch of little bitty fouls become a big foul. It's bad enough that we're not calling the big foul. What's even worse is when you let 5 or 6 itty bitty fouls happen. And then you want to know why is there a mass confrontation? It's not the confrontation. It's all the fouls that you didn't call in the first. If this is like the 80th minute, what didn't you do as a referee in the first 80 minutes to lead to this right here? And the fact that we have to go have a conversation about an itty bitty foul, well, that's a culmination. That's what remember, they pay me to watch games now. And this is what I see all whether I mean I'm watching the Sounders on TV, and right now it's above me, and we're all mad because everyone, I'm sure that's why everyone's camera's off right now because it got the game going, and we're all pissed off because of who's reffing the game, first of all. But I mean, the things that you're seeing here, I'm watching up here right now. It's the same thing. Even at that level, just call a foul. Why does it take 25 minutes to look at VAR to give a guy a red card when it was just obvious? So I think that's the key thing. People call fouls. I'd rather be talked about for calling too many fouls than being talked about because I didn't call the foul that led to a major brawl. So
Right, and in here, this clip completely showed that, where we have some type of contact that appears to be a trip, that if we would have blown the whistle for that, maybe prevented the second push in the back, and probably would have stopped us from having somebody at the end of this clip attempting to punch another player.
exactly.
So we've gone from a simple trip to a punching an opponent, which now we have a red card for. So perfect. Thank you, Ray. So in our mass confrontation, that is described as happening with 3 or more players in total, we have some type of aggressive behavior, physical contact, intimidation, and or punches, can be directed towards officials and or players, and we need to act quickly to avoid further escalation through that triangle of control of trying to get the players between all of us. So that way we can observe what actions are being taken, and all of us taking down numbers or remembering the numbers of the players that have been involved in the confrontation. And when you get yourself out of these situations, if you act fast enough, you may be able to get yourself out with 2 yellows, maybe 3 yellows. And maybe if you don't get out fast enough, you may be into the red areas. But try to work as that team to be able to provide a fair and equitable punishment as you come out of the mass confrontation, because it usually does take 2 to tango. So as what's been said here, I think this does a great job of summarizing the mass confrontation. When you have a 4th official, you just have that extra set of eyes that's able to assist, as well as, again, as we talked about earlier, the technical area is the 4th official's responsibility. And let's make sure we don't have more people involved in our mass confrontation than our 22 players that are on the pitch. Okay, so now we'll go to question number 6 as our poll question. What should our referees do during halftime? I always enjoy some of the answers there. So as an assigner, I always appreciate those of you are checking your phones for text messages for coverage for other games. But this is really a time for us to conference with our team. I've really tried to make it a habit of mine to ask my team if I'm the center referee, and even over as the AR, I may ask my center referee, what do I need to do differently in the second half that can make this game better? Or what are the things that I'm missing that I need to take care of? So it's important as a team that we are checking in and we're all on the same page. And this is a good time also to make sure that we know what the score is, any misconducts that have been issued and who they were issued to be able to, so the whole team can assist our center referee in not giving a second yellow and not realizing it. And then talk about what adjustments do we need to make in the second half to make the game go even better. Okay. And the next poll question then is, what should we do after the game? And for whatever reason, that poll question doesn't appear to have saved. And so I will let everybody talk about what's the answer here for poll question number 7. Either throw it into the chat or take yourself off of mute.
Well, obviously it's check your phone for your assigner.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that answer. You know, I think it is important that we are shaking hands with the coaches and the players after the game. We shouldn't be officiating games where we don't want to be shaking the hands of the participants. So no matter what's happened during the game, how mad they've made us because they weren't happy with our performance, we need to show that sportsmanship. And then of course the post-game conference with our team is important as well, in regards to making sure again we've got all of our scores correct, misconducts correct. We've given back any player cards and or rosters that are necessary to the teams, and then talking about anything that we have time for in regards to what we may do differently in situations of our game today in a future game. Look at that. I think I hit all my points there. So final thoughts on this. You know, we are the third team that's out there on the pitch. I probably not phrase this correctly as Ray says, but I think Ray says the most important team out there. And lack of communication, it leads to poor performance. And the communication doesn't always mean just about what's occurring during the 90 minutes. The communication is about what was communicated prior to the game and at halftime to make our team successful. And I always want you to think about now, as you go out there and officiate, are you just pouring coffee or are you reffing a soccer game? And with that, I will open it up for any questions.
I think a lot of what you said here, just to hammer the point home, it doesn't just apply to the fourth official. If you don't have a fourth, AR1 and AR2 are the fourth officials as well as your AR duties. So that AR1 is managing the coaches, managing the tech player, managing the bench. AR2 is managing the parents usually. So everything that you said applies to everyone on every game, whether there's fourth or not.
Yeah, I think that's a great summary, Richard. And I think with our fourth officials, I always see it as a gift because we have another person that is there to alleviate some of these tasks that the crew is tasked with, whether we are 4 people, 3 people, or 1 person. Anything about fourth officials that you were hoping to get out of this and I didn't cover tonight? Okay. Well, I'm not hearing anything else, so I think I will close this out for tonight.
Good job, Richard.